All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So I want to cover four on this one if I can. I'm going to look at DVLT, CIFR and IREN, and then ONDS. I think that's going to be my 1, 2, 3, 4 on this one, all right? And I'm going to repeat really quickly the market thoughts. If you watched the last video I made, you can skip the next couple minutes, but I'll be quick with it, maybe even a single minute on it. So look, if you've been watching my last couple videos, if you're in the Discord and reading a bunch of my last kind of comments over the last week, the bare minimum requirement was to get over 50% candle. We've done that and a little bit more, to say the least, right? We've basically recovered, what, 90% of that, right? And this is just that last little 10% left. So on that much, real solid check mark. We are now coming to the last two moving averages, all right? And I know on this view, again, we're using what I call, I mean, it's the chart reader's view, right? That's what this is. I move my money on the 1 and the 2. Honestly, sometimes I do go back and look at chart readers for like a good like third if I need like a tiebreaker, right? But those had the number under 23,000. This one obviously has one line still over 23,000, but to me, if NASDAQ can get over 23,000 tomorrow, hopefully nicely too, and really in a lot of ways, maybe this line right here is the like nicely confirmation number, right? But get me into 23,170, give or take, all of a sudden my confidence is let's go, right? And we're gonna need to confirm the next day, so it's a Tuesday, Wednesday tag team, right? But tomorrow get me over 23, Wednesday let's confirm, we're go, 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 all right? There's also some pretty decent headlines about a China deal happening with the US. That's good, right? Again, am I going to know all the details? Am I going to read the thing, this and that? No, not at all, right? But as long as the overall sentiment is positive, market's going to like that, right? So that's at least the NASDAQ thoughts. It's the exact same as the S&P 500. My wife just called my name. Give me one sec. Hold on. Hey, I'm recording. You okay? Yeah. Okay. So, you know, that's basically the 1-2 on that, all right? With these ones, honestly, DVLT, these have started to become my new set of regulars. I don't talk about DVLT. I don't know if you have ever made a video on it or not, but if you are in the room and you look up DVLT, I mean, there are a lot of results, and this is one that we regularly talk about, and they definitely have deleted a couple of the old ones, right? So this one's become a regular in the room. CIFR and IREN, man, we can't stop talking enough about these, right? You break all 5 and you fly. That's exactly what this thing did. We've been patiently waiting for the next recovery, and that's what we're looking for. The exact same words with IREN, right? You break all 5 and you fly. This one's actually a lot prettier because it doesn't have that crazier fake out that you saw with CIFR moments ago, right? But get me over the last bit, and there we go. And then ONDS, I will honestly say in the Discord, we have chats about this thing in the 80-cent range. Knock on wood, there are some people that have 10x ONDS, and I'd never heard of this stock because of the Discord as we're sitting in the 8s right now. But man, there's a lot to like. This is a good, strong candle. We're trying to get back over all the moving averages. Low indicators don't look bad at all. I think it's well worth eyes, to say the least, right? So this is my 1, 2, 3, 4 for the video. And again, NASDAQ over 23,000 really is the goal going into really the rest of the week, right? Let alone the Christmas rally we've kind of been waiting for desperately, right? So cool. Before we go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There aren't any actually, but I will draw, I have one up there, but I will draw some horizontal support and resistance lines manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can, please subscribe to this channel, share this video online, comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms, but for real, just being here, giving me your time, yo, I'm so grateful for it, all right? So let's get into it. And look, the easiest thing to talk about is today's red candle, all right? I know no one wants to see a negative 5% day. All right, that's not what we're here for. We're here for good green candles that go up, up, up regularly, right? This is a good candle. All right, and it's a good candle for a couple reasons. First off, and the most just obvious, this thing went up 46% on Friday. Generally speaking, if you're going to go up like 40% or some silly number, you either crash and lose like 20, 30, 40%, right? Real quick, just like that. Or you kind of hold and continue, right? And so far, this is making it believe like we want to hold and continue, all right? I very, very much like the fact that we never even wicked all the way down here, let alone we haven't closed down here, right? But I'm glad we're over 50%. I think the most educated thing I can say is this can actually come all the way down to 211, and I would still call it bullish. All right, as long as we're over 211, this does still look good. Look, that's a positive MACD. That's a real healthy 60 RSI, green over red on both of them, right? Volume's been a little inconsistent, but it's had its moments, right? Like there's not a lot of stocks in a single day that'll hit 200, 300, or 400 million. In months, they don't hit 200, 300, or 400 million shares, right? So there is an ability for this thing to get some volume if it comes. The other thing I want to talk about is this 200 moving average. We have not confirmed the break yet, right? Good candles, doji don't count. Good candles, doji don't count. Good candle, doji don't count. Good candle, you get literally good, nope, good, nope, good, nope, not just yet, right? So we are still unable to confirm, but if we can get a good candle over 292, maybe even 290, I think 290 might be a decent number. Get me over $2.90, there's gonna be a lot to like. Let me actually draw that line real quick. 290. It's almost the top of that. It's almost the bottom of that. It kind of hits that right there. I think if you can break 290, all of a sudden there's actually a decent reason to think 760 with what? Probably that 50% candle right there, give or take around the fours. So there's some interesting things going on here. And like I said, 290 and 4 are probably the next two lines up. I don't really want to start talking about 760, but yeah, the next line's there for a reason, right? I could maybe even see like 580 being a realistic line and maybe a little bit of a difficulty right there. So if you want to make that your third line, I think that's going to be okay. But that's the 1-2 we're looking for up. And like I said, just don't lose 211. Right? As long as you can hold 211, I'm real happy. Realistically, it can even maybe come as low as like two. I think two is maybe the lowest it could go. But as the 8 keeps going up and up, which it looks like it's gonna at least want to, that 2 might get a little shaky. I think my cat's trying to get out. You just came in. You gotta go. What are you doing? What are you doing? Just messing up my videos? That's okay. That's okay. It's their house. Let's be honest. So I think that's my 1, 2, 3 on DVLT. Let's look at the weekly really quickly. All right, look at this weekly. This is look at this thing. We have actually never been over the 100 moving average, and only once back in 2021. All right, ignore the dollars, please. Don't look at this as a $76,000 stock and it's down at 2 and like, oh my gosh, that's the deal of the century. All right, that's silliness. That's how you lose money. But we're looking at the blue line and acknowledging the fact that we have never, ever, ever, ever been over the blue line. We tested it, and we're now testing it again. I like that a lot. Get me over the blue line. Get me over 290, and a lot will happen on DVLT. And honestly, I think seeing that makes me think about that 760 probably a little more than it should, but I can't pretend I'm not a greedy little human, all right? So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. I'm going to combine these two because honestly, these have become like the brother and sister and like a very, very critical 1-2 in my daily watch list, actually, all right? So CIFR and IREN, I truly haven't been able. I'd love it if you have thoughts in the comments, but I don't really know which one's the leader and which one's the follower. They both just seem to move relatively equally, And yeah, it's interesting to watch these two move, but both of them did a very good job of break all five and you fly. I mean, that's what that looks like, right? I said it in the opening thoughts. I like the fact that Irene was smoother. There was a little bit of a fake out, and then obviously it went right, but they both did the job. They both made arguably the same like X multiple. They were very big jumps, right? You go from 5 to 20 on this one. You go from 10 to almost 50, right? So Irene did go a little bit more, but oh man, these two are very much important to watch. What I also like is this volume. Now look, I know it's not crazy beats of that white line, but what is happening is the white line continues to increase. There is more regular volume coming in, and as best as it can, it's doing its best to live at that line. That's hard to do, especially as it's like it wasn't that long ago. The volume was at 18 million on average. We've come to almost double that, more than double that, right? And we're basically living up to that. That's not an easy thing to do. CIFR is basically the same words. Maybe Irene is a little bit stronger, but I mean, this goes from 20 to 40, so it's still that same 2x. It reminds me of SoFi in a lot of ways. And this one you have to zoom out a little bit more to do it, but we were down here, we then start to rise, and this basically is able to live on the line. You know what I mean? I don't think it's fair to compare these two to SoFi, but hey, this is also in the financial service sector, right? So hey, maybe it kind of is. Again, you can see it back there, financial service sector. Maybe it is a little bit fair to compare them to it, right? So I like the volume down there. I really do. More than anything, we're looking to break the moving averages. All right, I think the big money line here is going to be, let's call it 1875. I think if we can get over, maybe even that's a little too high, maybe even 1850 can do it. I think around 1850 to 1875 on CIFR, depending on your risk reward tolerance, I would very much be excited to all really start thinking 2350, if not, continuation into that all-time highs right there, right? That's basically what we're looking for. Escape all the moving averages, get these lower indicators back. And I mean, just look at this weekly, right? All we've basically done is held the 8, right? Get me back over it, but that's not a good candle. Doji don't count. Let's see if we can get back over it. All we really did was hold the 8 and reset it from a crazy high 85 all the way back down to a healthy 67 that wants to go back up to 85, right? The exact same words with Irene, just different numbers. Get me over anywhere from 57.50 all the way to 59. I think that it's a little bit of a $2 gap, but just again depends your risk reward tolerance, right? But even 57 might be good. Look, anywhere from, let's call it 57 to 59. I think I'm gonna just tweak it to that. That's the money line, and we'll start thinking 63, and then we'll start thinking 72 after that. All right, that's going to be the 1-2 line above it. Really, the one thing we don't want to do is go below 46. I think as long as we can hold 46 on Irene, it's going to be good to go. CIFR has a little bit extra going for it because it does at least have the 8 moving average right there. But truth be told, I don't want to go below 1575 on CIFR right there. All right. Again, I like the weekly here on CIFR. It's basically the exact same one on Irene. Bad candle, doji don't count. Let's see if we can get back over, essentially just holding it. And look how high. This was a 95 RSI on the weekly. We very healthy came down to 66, sitting at 68 right now. Let's see if we can get back over and continue the run, right? Like this is what a healthy cool down actually does look like, even though it's dropped a lot more than we really want, right? So cool. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. ONDS is the last one I want to talk about, and we are trying to escape all the moving averages. That's essentially what's going on right now. What I also really like is it's basically been a week and a half, maybe just a week, right? But whatever. We've been attacking this 50 moving average, I mean, regularly, right? Couldn't. So far, so good. Let's see if we can continue, right? That's basically what we're looking for here. I'm liking the volume. I know it looks like it's coming down, that's for sure, but there's actually a pretty decent sustained growth right there. basically since since this 100 moving average bounce really happened, right? I'm taking it to back here. The bounce happens right there. And that's a pretty good slope right there, right? A couple days above it, couple days below it, relatively consistent. So I like the volume. I like the 100 moving average bounce. I like the escape attempt. Let's not go below 773. All right, let's even use 777. I like that slot machine number. Let's not go below 777, and I think ONDS will be very bullish. Man, oh, that's a little too high. Are we basically sitting there? Yeah, we're basically sitting right here. The goal is to break 860, right? We're basically at 870. We're over it. We just haven't broken it. But if we can get over it, the next place is 920. After 920, it's probably 1030 if I had to guess from there. And again, I like this positive MACD. I like that very low 63. I thought it got higher more recently, but again, you can see it. It at least got into the 80s. So let's take the 63 into the 80s, right? So when we look at the weekly as well, that's a very, very, very good weekly, right? 65 is a good, healthy number. We have red over green on both. I do see that, but I mean, I like this candle so far. It's still early in the week, but it looks like, right? No, we're even higher than that. We're already here. The next real place up is basically here at that 1070 that I mentioned. Break 1070, you'll basically start talking about 13 shortly after that, right? So weekly looks good, daily looks good. Don't lose 777, that slot machine number, and ONDS looks solid right there, all right? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Oh, I appreciate you so, so much.